If I were to have to recommend a chapter, I would go back to You're Not Lazy, because a lot of the language in that chapter, I'm sure every single person has heard something in their head and they've said something to themselves along, at some point in their life. And I think it is so relatable, regardless of the stage of life that you're in, that I would say to them, go back and just read that chapter.
Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. Hey friend, welcome back to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host and health coach, Jenn Trepeck, always here with you every week for wellness without the weirdness. And I am admittedly beside myself over today's episode. So first of all, we are talking about my new book called Uncomplicating Wellness, which is available for purchase beginning October 29th, 2025. So depending on when you're listening to this, it's either next week if you listen the day this goes live, or it's live or going to be live soon. This book is fundamentally about clearing the chaos of wellness culture that is really just disguised diet culture so that you can truly hear yourself again and rebuild trust with your own body. So, by the way, if you are listening and it is before October 29th, consider this your personal invitation to join us for the launch party and mini summit on Zoom. So it's happening October 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it's a mini summit. So we have 5 speakers who are each uncomplicating something in their space. So we have someone uncomplicating goal setting, uncomplicating cardiovascular testing, uncomplicating decluttering. We have a plant-based chef. We have incredible experts. Oh, one's a time management expert too. It's going to be so fabulous. On top of all of that, I am giving away a signed copy of the book and a month of health coaching. So 2 lucky attendees are going to walk away with something. So click the link in the episode notes to register for the Zoom. I can't wait for you to be there, 7 p.m. Eastern, October 29th. And joining me today are 4 truly incredible women who have already read Uncomplicating Wellness. So I want to do some quick intros because then that way you can hear everybody's voices and connect, voices with names. And for each of you, as part of introducing you, I'm curious to hear from you, not to put you on the spot, one word that describes your current relationship with wellness and whatever wellness means to you. All right, so first, Caroline. Caroline has been here for a couple episodes. We know each other from working out. Caroline, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. All right, what's your word that describes your current relationship with wellness?
So I would say exploratory.
Ooh, that's a good word. Love that. Okay. Ronnie is also a friend from working out, a returning voice for you too. Hi, Ronnie.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Caroline. And ladies. Thanks. Pam, Lori. Excited.
I know. So, all right, Ronnie, what's your word that describes your relationship with wellness at the moment?
I would say evolving.
Oh, you guys really did well on this assignment. All right, we're going to have to level up the game over here. All right. Pam is a new voice for all of you. Pam, welcome officially to Salad with a Side of Fries.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. All right. What's your word?
It's not going to be a popular one, and maybe I'll have time later to explain, but it is work.
Ooh, true too. I'm with you on that one. All right, last but certainly not least, Lori is here. Lori joined us for the first time on an episode a little earlier this year. Welcome back, Lori. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Excited you're here. What's your word?
Well, mine's more intentional. Menopause.
Oh, yeah.
So mine's right to the heart of it.
I love it. And, Lori, you bring that up. I don't want to call anybody out, but part of what I love about this crew is that with the 4 of you, we have different age brackets. We have different backgrounds in wellness. So, and I use the term wellness kind of all inclusive, and we can break that down more. But I think everyone, no matter the age or knowledge base that you're starting with, can find something in this book, right? Can learn and grow. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. All right. So one more thing before we really get to the meat of it, because you all have read it and we have not talked about it since. So I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Really quick, though, we do have to tell our members of the Happy Healthy Hub what they're getting this week. So members, your recipe this week is keeping with the uncomplicating theme. It's for ground turkey sweet potato skillet. 1 pan, 30 minutes, a meal for 4. Or 4 meals, depending on, how you work, how many people are in your home. An easy grocery list. You probably already have a lot of the things in your house. It's also a good one if you have veggies that are going to go bad, just toss them in too. Super simple. So if you want this recipe, be sure you're a member of the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership for just $12 a month. Or, by the way, you could prepay the whole year up front and get it for $120. So save some money there. You get a weekly recipe, curated articles, discounts from me and our partners, expert interview episodes in full video, including behind-the-scenes content, a community board with the ability to post and comment on other people's posts, plus access to the 24/7 Ask Me Anything to target your specific questions or challenges. You can upvote people's questions, see past Q&As, all the things. So I tell people all the time, this is really the next best thing to my signature 12-week coaching program. So if you're ready to level up your health this fall, support this podcast so we can keep doing this with you every week. Go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership or click the link in the episode notes because that's easier than the whole typing part. Once you're there, you'll follow the prompts. You're going to click subscribe now, enter your payment info, and create your login to access the hub. And then you'll be all set to get this week's recipe for the ground turkey sweet potato skillet. Okay, so I'm going to frame our conversation around the subtitle of the book, which is Ditch the Rules, Quiet the Noise, Reclaim Your Life. So maybe I'm even jumping the gun on that one. Before we get to Ditch the Rules, I'm really curious. We had your words about what wellness is. When you heard the title of the book, Uncomplicating Wellness, what came to mind for you? Who wants to start?
For me, I felt like I was able to take a deep breath. I felt like it was going to be easy. It would be easy to read through the book. It would be easy to understand. I just felt like it was like taking a deep breath.
And did that deliver? Was it what you thought it would be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a slow reader, and I'm proud to say that I was not slow. And it's because I felt like it was, well, first I did feel I heard your voice in my head, but I felt like it was incredibly digestible. It was very relatable. And I just felt like I was constantly wanting to read more because I didn't feel bogged down with what the content was.
Oh, awesome. Love that.
But you were totally in my ear. I was Jeff's voice is talking to me right now.
I think that's the thing about being a podcast listener or being a friend of mine, that voice. So,
Well, no, you made the book, and I agree with Caroline 100%. The book, when I first heard the title, I thought if anyone's going to be able to make this not complicated, it's going to be you. And I agree with Caroline. I mean this in the best way possible. It was an easy read in that it was digestible. I didn't have to flip back a million times to cross-reference things. It's and as I've been going through my own wellness journey, I have had your voice in my head because we have talked about things, but the book let it all fall into place a bit better and things made sense. And it was oh, that's why our XYZ. So I just found it in my opinion, you accomplished what you set out to do because I understand things and I didn't get overwhelmed at all.
Awesome. And what was, just because we kind of skipped ahead, what was your, when you heard the title, what did you think?
That's what I thought. I was like,
Yeah.
if anyone is going to be able to make it uncomplicated, it would be you.
Yeah.
Right? You're the same person that lets me eat French fries. So
Well,
it's all,
obviously, we eat them together. Awesome. Lauren, what about you? What did you think when you heard Uncomplicating Wellness?
There's so much noise out there right now regarding wellness. And you start going down these rabbit holes, and they are rabbit holes. And it's amazing, they just keep talking and talking and talking, and they don't give you any content. And so I was actually looking forward to reading the book. And again, I found it to be very digestible, very easy to read. And it didn't take a long time for me to get through it and really feel like I gained a lot out of it. So I just thought it was amazing.
Yay. Awesome. All right, Pam. And Pam, you have a very different, I love, your word was work. So I'm curious about that. And then connected to this title of Uncomplicating Wellness. But also, you have a very different background in a lot of this than, the rest of this group. So feel free to share all of that too. So there's context to your.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. And from my background, I'm not sure where, you wanted me to really pull, but like personally, I'll take that first. And that is that I'm a mom of 6 and a grandmother of 5. And we haven't always eaten well. My husband's a physician. He's an obstetrician gynecologist and lifestyle medicine physician. I'm an attorney by profession. That's what I used to do. So, I mean, if you just think of all of that together, now that our kids are 26 to 40, but like there was a time where we were in the thick of everything in life and we weren't eating and sleeping as healthfully as we should. And so it's been a journey for us, for sure. And so I don't know if, that's what you wanted me to share, but now I'm working with my husband and we co-founded a medical practice and an online program. And so we're able to help people. And so I know that there is a lot of work and it can be complicated. It doesn't have to be. So even though that word work is kind of like a dirty word, certainly that is not what I feel, what I do feel when I'm reading your book. It's you have simplified the confusion. When I heard the title, it reminded me of something my dad used to say, KISS, KISS, keep it simple, sister, right? Because truth never changes,
Yeah.
And so, a plate of processed food is a plate of processed food that isn't good for you, all day. There's no opinion there. It just isn't, Doesn't mean we're not going to eat it from time to time, but you have simplified the confusion. And that's what I expected when I heard the title, and you certainly delivered on it.
Thank you. And I appreciate hearing that from all of you because it's one thing when you create something and then it's quite another when it actually exists and accomplishes the thing that you wanted it to. And I say this to everybody too, as I've been talking about the book. It's not a plan. It's not another diet or wellness book the way most of the time we think of them or that's what's presented to us. So I'm curious if there was a part of the book that made you say, absolutely, this is not the same as everything else that's out there, not another diet or wellness book. Was there something specific?
Yes. Right from the very beginning, you gave us permission to go anywhere in the book that spoke to us. Nobody else does that. They're like, do this, don't do that. And you right away empowered us to be able to choose, what spoke the most to us. And I think that's huge because I think you reiterated that throughout the book, that it's us knowing ourselves, right? Knowing our own body and what works for us. And so you weren't out there saying, you can't do this or you have to do that, which so many of the other books do.
Mm-hmm.
It's being that experiment of one. And so that's what you emphasized. And I have to say, I mean, I don't know how you pulled it off because not many authors can, but it is super conversational. I just felt like the whole time I was just with you at a coffee shop and you were just giving me your best stuff. And I love that. That is going to really resonate with a lot of people. And it's fantastic.
Thank you.
I think for me, it was like the open-ended questions in some of the chapters because there were questions that I didn't necessarily need to ask myself, but then there were some questions that I did need to ask myself. And so, adding on, I think it's very individualized and it can be really personable because, like, to your point earlier, all of us come from different backgrounds. So maybe something that Pam needs or what Ronnie needs is not something that I need, and vice versa. So I felt like those open-ended questions allowed that self-discovery, versus like, which I know it was already mentioned, of like being told what to do.
Yeah. And that kind of brings up another question that I had for all of you. And Lori, you kind of mentioned it with the word menopause, right? But we each sort of sit in a different place in our lives. And I'm really curious, how do you see the pressures or the noise of health and wellness showing up for women for you right now, given where you are? So, Lori, maybe I'll come back to you because you mentioned menopause before. And I think, there's probably never been more conversation about menopause, but there's pros and cons to that too.
Right. It's true. I agree. There probably is more conversation now than there ever has been before, but it's still so little. Even when you try and get into certain conferences or stuff around it, you can't even get in the door. They're sold out like within minutes. So that just goes to show you the need that people are looking for information, help. Where are we? What are we doing? And again, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And so I think you just really need to have some serious conversations with a lot of folks, physicians and health coaches alike, and figure out what works for you.
Yeah, I agree. And coming at it also a little differently is the stress chapters. And unfortunately, the poop chapter spoke to me because I have
Yes, there's a whole
Yeah.
chapter on poop.
chapter on poop. Yeah, I didn't want to give away the ending. I know there's a pun in there somewhere, but I'm not even sure. But for me, I have gastrointestinal issues. And during the pandemic, when I was alone and not having the physical touch that you mentioned, and then also not having regular outlets, I not only gained a lot of weight, but I also got really sick. And to Lori's point, the thing around women's health is I had endometriosis and I didn't know for most of my life that I didn't have it. And so dealing with that and coming back from that and rebuilding myself, I feel like from the bottom up or the inside out, it's like knowing what stress does and knowing why it does it and knowing things I know. Like you helped me bridge the gap. It's like I was just coming onto it a little late. Like I know stress kills you. Do I know why? No. Well, now I do. The other thing I like was that you gave lots of options, right? Like dancing while you cook, just lots of different things. And so I felt myself just like nodding and smiling and saying, yeah, this all makes sense. And, the menopause endometriosis discussion is a lot more information needs to be shown on that. And I think you do a good job of telling women or telling readers like when you need to be concerned and when you need to like just say, okay, I had an off day and regroup.
Yeah, curious, Pam, Caroline, where do you guys see pressures and noise around health showing up based on where you are?
I mean, social media. And it's a loud minority. And what I mean by that is that there's a group of, self-proclaimed gurus out there, who are like, who's never like either seen a patient or had a client and they're out there just marketing and they may look great too, so it fools you into thinking that that's who you should follow. And it was dangerous. And, they're giving their opinions. It's no evidence to back up what they're saying, and it can get very confusing. And so, we have to be smart and savvy and kind of peel back the onion to see, who we should be listening to. I mean, I just think social media, that's where I see it mostly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely am seeing like most of my noise is on social media. I will say, like, to give some context. So I recently entered my 30s, and in the spring I had ACL surgery. So I'm relearning how to walk and rebuilding my strength. And so the two noises that have been coming up a lot for me recently is all of the supplements that people take when it comes to anything. It could be for collagen, it can be for anxiety, it could be for metabolism, it could be for everything. And so that's like one bucket of noise that I see. And then the second bucket of noise is all of the things that people do, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, for their wellness. Whether that's like, I've seen like some things where they like unpeel themselves from like a night's sleep, and it's like the mask and the hair, and they're trying to do all of these things to get to a certain point. And so I think for me, what was really helpful is the chapter, the biostack over biohack, because in those moments where all I wanted to do was to be able to go on a run and I physically am not able to do it, or, when I'm seeing all of this noise, I think, okay, what are the things I need to like ground myself in? And like, what is the foundation? And then how do I feel? And then what do I layer on? Because I don't want to take all of the supplements because I don't know what will work and what won't work for me. And frankly, I want to do 50 things in the morning or in the evening for myself. So I think like that chapter specifically really helps me ground myself in like what's the foundation. And then I will add on like those extra layers, because I think like, I should have in my 20s, but like now that I'm in my 30s, like I think about like, how do I want to feel? I want to feel good. And what do I want to do? So that way, like I can have long lasting habits and like not something that I'm constantly chasing, if that makes sense.
For sure. For sure. And it's one of those too where like, not that this was the point of what you shared, but even to define good for yourself. Like, what does it even mean to feel good? What does that look like? Because then going back to what Pam was saying, I think we assume that the person on social media has the same objective that we do, but we don't really know. And we don't know where they're coming from or all of that history and whatever. So, coming back and, I talk about in the book at one spot, like put the blinders on, know where you're headed and just put the blinders on for a second.
But also have enough flexibility, sorry, Jen, that you realize that it changes over time,
Yes.
right? Like, because when I was younger, it's like, oh yeah, I'll try any kind of crazy, like S Factor workout class kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
And now it's like, I just want to stretch so I don't hurt myself getting out of bed.
Right.
Right? Like,
Totally.
like that whole thing. Like, I don't have grandchildren, but I feel like, damn, that was probably like when it's like, do you want to bend down to pick it up? No, I just want to remember why I walked into my kitchen.
Right. But that's something
Exactly.
about the book, I will say, like this book can carry you with you throughout your life. So like, we're all able to relate to this book, and we're at different stages and we have different things going on. And like, then at least for me personally, when I'm getting into perimenopausal and menopausal, I can still go back to this book. And I think that's something that's really special about it.
Absolutely. And I do love, Jen, that you were saying, start with one thing. I remember for us, it's now been about 16 years when we drew that line in the sand as a family to say, okay, there was some things like we know too much now, because once you know that,
Yep.
that's bad for you, you can't go back, but you can't do it all at once. And so for us, it was just taking that gallon of milk and just throwing it down the drain. And so no more, we never then bought a gallon of milk or any milk, for the house. It was it. That was it. It was non-negotiable. One thing we started with. The cheese took a little longer, but
yes,
which usually
cheese.
does.
Which meanwhile, I saw a study today that was talking about how cheese lights up the same part of your brain as drugs.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. There's a book called The Pleasure Trap
Yes.
that talks all about that. Yeah. And, for us, because we're lifestyle medicine, and if you really look up the definition of lifestyle medicine, it means that you are plant forward. It's not vegan. Goodness gracious. I was so happy to see you just dissected those labels. No labels. You can't do it. It's talk about confusing. It's crazy. So we just say we're not plant perfect. We're plant-based, not plant perfect, and that's has worked for us. And we figured that out. And that's kind of the label we want to give to us ourselves. And then we get to explain. And some days we're a carnivore, like on Thanksgiving when we're eating the turkey. Why
Totally.
not? Right?
Yeah. So that makes me, I want to ask you guys this question. Is there a rule or a should that you used to believe or subscribe to that now you question it or you've completely released it based on the book?
I have one.
Go for it.
So something that I definitely used to do that I have tried very hard not to do anymore is to count calories, the calorie counting.
It's a good one.
And I will say there are parts of, where we all get overwhelmed. And as a form of control, counting is a great way to control. But when you talk about the three words, protein, quality fats, and fiber, that helps me reground myself to say, okay, I do have control over those three things. And so let me focus on protein, quality fats, and fiber instead of the number.
Awesome.
And that helps me redirect my focus.
I would say for me, and part of this is conversations with you, Jen, beforehand, but, getting enough protein. There was a time that I thought, oh, this is enough protein. And then didn't really realize how much protein as a woman that I really needed. And it was eye-opening. And it's made such a huge difference in how I feel. Don't know how it works for everybody else, but, I have to figure out what works for me as well as everybody else. But I would say that's just been a huge shift for me, probably in just the last, year, 18 months. And what a difference it's made.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with all of them. I used to have the rules of the should, the shouldn'ts, but then when you don't feel well and you're working back from that, it's just like, oh, I'm just going to listen to what my body needs. But I feel like, right, what Lori just said, you had told me that while I was recovering, was just listen to your body and determine what it needs. But the one thing I thought was really interesting was the absorption versus hydration, or the hydration. I literally bought the pink Himalayan salt today to put into the water at work because I hate the way it tastes. And I was like, all right, let's spiffy it up. So if the salt doesn't work, maybe I'll throw in some lemons. I don't know. But yeah, it's everything. I don't know. I'm a logical person. Shocking. But everything you said just made sense. How you explained it made sense. Everything, all the metaphors, the analogies, and even the references. I understood them all.
Awesome. Yeah, I have a lot of car metaphors. I grew up in Detroit. We're outside Detroit, so there's a lot of car references. I love it. So that's sort of we have ditching the rules. We talked about the noise. So I want to come back and talk about reclaiming your life. Let's pause here to highlight our partner for this episode. Oh, and I commandeered this real estate again. So friends, since you're here listening, we already know that we have a lot in common. We are about the tips, the tools, the real life strategies to make our lives better. And if you want even more support in between weekly episodes of Salad with a Side of Fries, if you want to be the first to know about things like this book, Uncomplicating Wellness, be sure you're on the list to receive my newsletters. I promise I do not spam you. I send 2 emails a month, unless there's something special going on like the book, but 2 emails a month in these newsletters, though. At the beginning of the month, you get deeper dives, practical strategies, a bit of inspo to help you take those small, consistent steps and put your health knowledge into action. There's typically a theme for every month, and then I share products that I'm loving, favorite reads, recipes, and so much more. I like to think of it as the extra boost of accountability, a little support, like I said, a little inspo delivered right to your inbox. And then middle of the month, you get updates on the podcast, reminders. We often have you vote for your favorite nutrition nugget from the month. You can be featured if you leave a review. So you also get bonuses from past guest experts that we've had. Honestly, I think you're missing out if you don't receive these. And, I didn't even mention this. So when you get on the list, you get my free guide called It's Not What to Eat, It's How to Eat. So head over to asaladwithasideoffries.com. Right on the bottom of the homepage, you can slap in your info there, and then you'll be on the list. Again, it's asaladwithasideoffries.com. All right. So let's talk about the third piece of this subtitle. So we had ditch the rules, quiet the noise, now reclaim your life. So I think one of the biggest ideas that I've put throughout here in the beginning and throughout is that you're not broken. You have been given broken tools. So I'm curious how that landed for each of you. And is there a piece of this reclaiming your life that, in your context, what does that look like? Is it career? Is it relationships? Is it, like we're talking about recovering from injury? So I'll just throw it out there. I don't know who wants to chime in first.
Well, I mean, it's ultimately your responsibility.
Yes.
I mean, and so what I know that healthcare has done is taken the responsibility off the person, because the doctor can just write a prescription and now you can go forward and do whatever lifestyle behavior you want to do. It's not paired up with the lifestyle behavior, to help you know when you can get off that medication or what you can do alongside that medication. So you did the right amount of kissing and kicking in the book. I really hope, because it is your responsibility, and that's empowering. It shouldn't be looked at as a negative, and throughout the entire book, you gave that proactive action. It was like you can always be proactive in your health, your wellness journey. And it is a journey. Nobody reaches it and says, I'm done.
Right.
We're finished. You're never done, and that's exciting. And you made it exciting. You really did. Yeah, it was great. So, but taking responsibility is really what stuck out to me.
Mhm.
And
Ownership.
And that's why I say the work.
Yeah.
'Cause it is work. Yeah. But you can make it fun.
I think that's very true. I think we need to learn how to advocate for ourselves again, right? Because it's our bodies and nobody knows us as well as we know ourselves.
Absolutely.
And it's a journey to know yourself. And again, as we had talked about, it's forever changing. So you're relearning who you are. But I think there's a lot of information out there and you have to discern and try certain things. And does this work for me? Or does it not work for me? You want to put me on this medication. What can I do instead of that medication? Are there other options? And I don't think a lot of people ask those questions. And I think we need to be able to voice our concerns about things and what our options are, if there are some.
Yeah. And that, Lori, to that point too, we expect our doctors to know these options. They're not really taught them. So it's why we want to have other people in our community, in our care team, as I call it, to ask those questions. Okay, so this person didn't have options. Do you have options? Because, as you said, advocating for ourselves, asking those questions, the onus, back to Pam's point, it's our responsibility.
Well, because also we're the ones who know how we feel, right? Like, when something's not right, when something is. And I mean, I have unfortunately several stories, like one when certain doctor was examining me, asking me about a test I didn't have. And when I said I never had that test, they said, sorry, I was thinking about the next patient. So I could have a whole diatribe on that. I could also tell you about the subpar service in Bloomingdale's when I bought a new wallet and someone else's at license and registration were in the brand new designer wallet I purchased. But the reason I bring these up is not because I should be drinking when I tell you these stories. It's because part of the book has reinforced that, like, with each thing, for the most part, I see that I'm getting better and like how I handle all of it, right? So like knowing that stress sets me off and that I don't know, I expect brand new to be brand bleeping new, right? Not somebody's return thing from like Long Island anyway. But it's like, I know how to process it better, right? Like I recognize that like I need to take, and this helps me at work too, right? I don't fire off that immediate email where I want to be like, what the F is wrong with you? Do you not know how to read? It's like, no, I take that breath. I do. Oh, I do want to know how you pass your breath over your vocal cords. I didn't understand that. So, but like I do the breathing thing, I do the meditation, and I'm proud to report that like I have noticed where I am making improvements because I haven't killed anybody yet, right? Like sorry, you probably want to edit that one out. But like no, I
Totally
am
staying
seeing
in.
improvements. Yeah, no. But no, but I think one of the things for me is that it's the little things, and over time, the little things will add up, and you don't necessarily think it will, but one day it's like, oh my God, I actually didn't send that email, or I didn't curse that person out. So it does. And then you get a high from that resonates in your body, and you're like, all right, maybe I'll go work out.
First of all, I love you. But it's what you're talking about is that momentum. Like when we demonstrate to ourselves that we can do something, and then we see that it helps us and we feel better,
Yes.
we're more likely to do the next thing.
Yes.
Which, by the way, is the complete opposite of what we think motivates us. Most of us are trying to like beat ourselves up into compliance. Like if I'm mean enough to myself, then I'll make the healthier choice. So what I love about what you just shared is that it demonstrates so genuinely what happens when we just do a different thing and observe and get curious and see how it all plays out instead of trying to like force it all in like square peg round hole or whatever that phrase is that I'm butchering. Yeah. And dragging your breath along the vocal cords. So think about like fogging up a mirror. You know, for everybody who's listening to this as a podcast, I'm going to apologize for this sound, but right? Like when you're fogging up a mirror, it's like, but then you do that with your mouth closed. Does that make sense?
Yes. So if you do that while you're counting backwards or whatever you're counting, like you literally can't do it else. I was trying to do that with the rub your belly.
Pat your head and rub your belly. Yeah. Awesome. Caroline, anything for you, something that like reclaim your life, you're not broken, the tool's broken?
Yeah, I would say like for me, a little different than Ronnie. The two words that came to my mind was like validated and like acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, again, like this is my personal experience, but I've definitely had many moments along like my journey of recovery from surgery. And it made me feel like I can just like accept and let be like the situation or the current circumstances that I'm in. So like, for example, like, you know, I'm still not hopping yet, which is fine. And so like my body needs like low impact workout right now. It's allowing me to be accepting of like right now, all I need is a 20-minute low impact workout. And like, that's good enough. And like sometimes like I just do physical therapy and then I go right to sleep. And like that's enough. And like there's nothing wrong with the situation that I'm in right now, if that makes sense. So I would say that phrase made me feel validated and made me feel more like I could accept the circumstances that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
I know you'll be strong enough when you listen to your body to recover and be hopping.
I'll be jumping. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. And even the way you phrased it of right now, your acceptance and recognition that this is the moment, not the be all end all till the end of time. Awesome.
And I think, Jen, that goes back to in the book, you're like, words matter, and they do matter. And so we really need to recognize what is going on in our head, but also what we're telling other people, because you're reinforcing something every time you say it out loud, right? And so I often will say to people, well, your words matter. What you're saying matters because you're reinforcing something within yourself when you say those types of things. And so make sure that you're saying the words the way you want to feel or the way you want to be or what you're hoping will be. And again, being okay with at the moment, this is where I am and that's good. But this is where I want to go and that's good too, right? Whenever I get there.
Absolutely. So that makes me want to ask this question, right? Thinking intentionally about our words. I'm such a stickler for the words we use. And if there's somebody listening right now who feels overwhelmed, skeptical of this whole industry of wellness or recommendations that are coming at them, and of course, all the noise that we talked about, what's one thing from the book that you would tell them to remember?
I think I would say that it's one thing at a time and that those small things will add up. In the book, it reminded me of when we were in class and Sarah would do standing splits, right? And her leg literally went straight up and down and I looked like a bad 90-degree angle, right? But in my mind, I was doing that straight standing leg split, right? And I was like, but the point is, like, I've now said, you know what? And in part was from being friends with you guys and learning from you guys and having it built back in the book. It's like, no. In my mind, it's okay to think I look like Sarah's standing splits, right? Because in my world, I do. And so I think it's really that it's one thing at a time and each thing will eventually add up and it'll hit you when you don't even know it.
Yeah.
I agree with what everybody says about everything we've talked about tonight, but it's you have enough right now, and you are enough right now to get started. You don't need anything else to get started. It's nice if you have some sort of community, when as you're starting off, and you talked about community is one of the pillars, one of the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. People die of loneliness. I know it's probably not, a diagnostic code to bill insurance. However, but that is a truth. And so build on that, getting somebody who you can start this journey with to keep you accountable, to do it with, to have fun. But that's what I would say is my overriding. And that's the hope that you gave people in this book, which is huge. If people need hope.
Thank you.
I would say, like, if there was, like, a phrase that comes to my mind, it's like, "It's not you." I think that's, like a really core thing to remember. And then if I were to have to, like, recommend a chapter, I would go back to "You're not lazy." Because a lot of the language in that chapter, I'm sure every single person has heard something in their head and they've said something to themselves along, at some point in their life. And I think it is so relatable, regardless of the stage of life that you're in, that I would say to them, go back and just read that chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a point you talked about finding your rhythm. And that sounded so much easier to me than here's your goals, here's what you have to do, this is what you need to do. It's like it made it more ascertainable. I just need to find my rhythm. And it's my rhythm, right? Because nobody's got it just like I do. And it's like you say, adding that one thing or eliminating that one thing, and you find your rhythm and you just keep going, just keep moving forward with it.
Yeah. My hope, and it sounds like this has been the experience for all of you, that it is a weight lifted. And with tools, with resources, and trusting yourself, everything is possible. That, I think the reclaim your life piece starts to sound a little lofty, but the truth is, as we were just saying, it snowballs. It starts with one thing and it snowballs, and then it shows up in all these other places in our lives that's beyond what we could have expected. So I think, what I love about these conversations is, there's a feeling of freeing. And I feel like everything else that's out there and everything that got us to where we are now, right? Like in the beginning of the book, we talk about like how we ended up here. It's a maze of guilt and perfectionism. And now it's saying, wait a minute, I actually have all the answers. I just have to figure that out and retune in to figure out and understand what my body is saying. Because as I often say, the human body is always doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Our job is to figure out, why does it think that that thing is what it's supposed to do? Remedy that and get out of the way. So awesome. A final thought to wrap this up? Anything else? I mean, that was a lovely bookend from everybody. So no pressure.
So incredibly impressed with you. Not only that you've built this whole thing, but you wrote this incredible book, and it's just so good. It's so like,
Thank you.
I made notes. It's like things I can do, and in my mind, it makes sense. Like there's an explanation for, this, and it's not just because I'm a cranky bitch. Like it's actually my body telling me something. So just thank you and wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say I loved that you put laughter in and you're right, laughter is the best medicine. And as long as I've known you, you've always had a smile. You're never without a smile, and you're so kind. And that is wellness all around. So I would say that if people are looking for community, that they should follow you because you're going to exceed their expectations. And so I have always appreciated that about you. I never knew that you were an author. I'm just learning, about this year. And so it's going to be such a big impact to the world.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. And your whole family. Some of my favorite people.
I would just encourage people to sign up for the launch party. I think it will be a fun time. It will be amazing what you can learn.
Thank you.
I would say that the book is a really great segue into your podcast because you dive sometimes very deep into a lot of the topics, like even deeper than the book goes. So I would suggest, like my one piece of advice would be start with the book and then whatever they feel connected to dive deeper into your podcast. I think that everything you share is so digestible.
Like the fiber.
Exactly.
Like the fiber.
Exactly. It all comes back to protein and fiber, right? So
Yeah, I was going to say, forget everything else we took. No, I take it back. All that schmaltzy stuff. It's all about protein and fiber.
right.
And quality fats.
And quality
Right.
fat, for sure. And, you guys said it all. So I'm just going to say October 29th, launch day. Read along with us at the celebration. All the links are in the show notes to join us. As Lori said, it's October 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern for the mini summit. We're going to dig deeper into all of the things, uncomplicate even more. And Caroline, what you just shared, I'm going to create a bonus that's a playlist to go with each chapter. So podcast episodes that go with each chapter. So what you'll have to do is submit your receipt from purchasing the book, and we'll give you access to those playlists. So, bonuses coming your way. I just created a giant assignment for myself, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And by the way, if you create a book club and you have a group of people who read the book together, reach out to me. We will do some sort of event or book chat or something. I'm working on live book events. The first one is November 13th in New York City. So if you want us to come visit you in your part of the country or the world, let me know. I'm game.
I think that we should do a destination one.
I was going to say road trip.
We go somewhere else.
All right, friends, give us somewhere amazing to go. Get your community together. Read the book. We're all coming. All right, friends, in true salad with a side of fries fashion, this Friday, we have a bite-sized bonus episode talking about holding hands. So this actually plays into one of the themes and certainly a specific chapter of Uncomplicating Wellness and also into next week's episode. So we got such great feedback from one of our nutrition nuggets, like all of these where we talk about something where it's seemingly so simple. And this was another one about holding hands that I wanted to share. So we're going to do it on Friday in this week's bite-sized bonus episode. What Is holding hands going to tell us about our health? Tune in to find out. Friday, 3 a.m. Eastern. Be sure wherever you listen, click the plus sign or the follow button, and then your app will alert you when it goes live on Friday morning. As always, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I am at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideoffries.com. This is your personal invitation. Join us at the virtual book launch and mini summit, October 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're listening to this after that date, no worries. Click the link in the episode notes below. Pick up your copy of Uncomplicating Wellness. Ditch the rules, quiet the noise, reclaim your life. Caroline, Ronnie, Pam, Lori, thank you again for joining me for this, for being incredible early readers and part of our book launch team. I'm so grateful for each of you.
So happy for you, Jen. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And of course, everybody, if you are not already, I invite you to the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideoffries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and of course, above all, it supports your health. On top of the 24/7 Ask Me Anything, community chat, discounts, and curated content, you'll get this week's recipe for the ground turkey sweet potato skillet. So until next week, remember, you don't need every answer. You simply need a filter that helps you choose what's true for you. And Uncomplicating Wellness, the book, can help you hone that filter. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.